Good evening, everybody. It is Wednesday, 9th of Feb. Welcome to episode 67 of So What's Been Happening. Just before we get into things, and a couple of the boys join me, I'd just like to say hello to everyone. Welcome to our 67th episode. And on that, I'd just like to start with some famous number 67s. Here we are. Some famous 67s there. For me, the 67 Fastback Mustang is an absolute institution in the car world. Good mate of mine, AK, I was lucky enough to have one of those for a while. And another guy we've had on the show, Clint Bartram, had one of those for a while. So, absolute iconic cars, the Mustang for sure. I just want to touch on a reflection I kind of had today. And I saw this quote. I'm not sure who kind of put it up first, but I kind of found it and it really kind of resonated with me of my thoughts on music and how things are at the moment out there for us, getting back out and enjoying music again. And it says, whenever I go to concerts, midway through, I just stand there in the crowd and I'm like, fuck, man, this is happy. This is what happy feels like. Surrounded by people who I love, screaming to music that I love, seeing people that I love. Dudes, this is happy. So the great part about that is it's so much a reflection of me, my friends, so many muso mates. And this show was kind of born around mates, born around musicians, born around friends of art and culture as well. And we've loved having so many different people on. Just a little reflection on episode 67 now. We've been so lucky to have a massive plethora of guests, to mention a few with their names up there. And yeah, some, to be honest, I never thought I'd even be able to reach or get to, but it's incredible. You send out an invite and you never know who's keen. And the feedback really all the time is, thank you so much for getting us on the show. And it's just like, really, we're honored to have you guys on the show and to come on and be part of it is fantastic. So it's one thing I just want to do is that I went to another gig on the weekend. This was Thursday night. Matt Joe Gow was absolutely super gig at Luli's Tavern. And then from there, I went to Friday night with good mate Gaz, Berkey, and Jen to the Cherry Bar. And sometimes at the Cherry Bar, you're not sure who the band's going to be, but the great part about what James Young's done with the Cherry Bar is it always gives artists an opportunity. And yeah, that's awesome to see 3 bands on a night. Started with an early session, and we actually missed the band that was on, Persecution Blues. We missed them first, too busy having a chat and a beer. But then came back for this young group that was kind of born in isolation, effectively, born in lockdown, in COVID lockdowns. And this band's called Doomsday Pilot. So I just want to play a little bit of that. We as soon as we heard him, we thought this kid's got a bit of Jeff Buckley in his voice, but just great tunes. Anyway, and before you know it, he actually played a Jeff Buckley cover, and I've never heard anyone play Grace as a cover before. So here we go. I'm just going to try and add this and see if we can get play a little bit of it. Fantastic. All right, the boys are ready. Let's bring up the first clown. G'day, Cuz. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. How are you, buddy?
Good. Welcome back. That was a nice little 10-minute filler.
How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Hope you're well.
No, all good, mate. Just been a footy training tonight. The other man and I, who will come on shortly as well. So a little bit later than expected.
Good to hear. All right.
Good mate, very
67.
good band.
67, mate. You got one?
I was trying to think of a 67. Is Nathan Lyon 67?
Don't know.
That's the only one I can think of.
Righto.
Richmond and Geelong won played off in the flag. The Cats won.
Yep.
I think. Yeah, that's about all I've got. 67, not a lot. Yeah, not a lot.
You haven't got a lot for me.
No.
All right, let's go with the 67 that I know here. Where is it?
Yeah.
Typically now I can't find it. Anyway, here we go. Do you remember this one?
Oh, yes. Nice.
For our AFL lovers, Shawnee Burgoyne wore 67 in a famous game. So there you go. It all happens.
Why did he wear 67? Why did he wear 67?
You tell me, mate.
I don't know. I can't remember.
There is a reason.
I know that.
The reason, I think it's one of the inauguration chats with government and the Indigenous community, and that was around then, which they settled on I wouldn't say a treaty, but we should find out a little bit more information on that, shouldn't we, Cuz?
I'm going to leave it with me, mate.
Righto, do your homework. All right, let's bring up the other young man that joins us on the show. It's great to have him back after a little hiatus. Lovey, you ready, mate? Welcome back.
Oh, yeah, Nobbos.
Good, mate. What are you cooking up, mate? You doing the dishes?
Mate, I'm
hang on. How are you, Nobbos?
I'm cooking myself up an absolute storm here.
Nice.
It's chicken and chip. It's chicken and chips tonight. So it's going to be baked chips in rosemary, and there's going to be some salsa chicken with a bit of onion and mushroom attached to it with some jalapenos, and that's about it, mate. That'll do it.
Nice.
Mate, I love this. Obviously influence from Dave Cosma's pasta session from a while ago on a few of our episodes. Great to see, mate.
Look, Dave Cosma carries about half my body weight, right? So that means I can't really go with pasta because the amount of room I'm taking up on the camera right now, all you'd see would be my man tits if I ate pasta like he would. So just a bit of stuff out of the ground, some chook, happy days.
Beautiful, mate.
Hang on.
Feed a man chicken. Good work. And just as we say, a bit of MasterChef. It's actually World International Pizza Day today.
Is it really?
Sure. So Feb 9. So just a little shout out to our show sponsor, Global Pizza.
Hey!
One of our local pizza place. So great to see the great guys back.
Now I've got something that I want to quickly discuss about pizza. I think we had this debate last year, but everyone knows that you don't put pineapple on the pizza.
Yep.
What else?
No. Why not?
Shut up, Glenn. They never made a pizza. There was no pineapple.
Let's bring him back. We'll bring him back in a second. We'll give you a chance to tell you your piece first.
Thank you. So there were never any pineapples when they first made the original pizza, correct? Done. So all I'm saying is no pineapple. I'm actually going to ask the question, what other ingredient would you not put on pizzas that are currently put on there?
Yeah, well, that's interesting. For me, never been a fan, but they've always, when they've snuck it in there, it's a filthy surprise, and I just can't enjoy the pizza afterwards, and that's got to be the anchovy.
I'm partial to the anchovy.
Are you?
It's a Mediterranean fish. You know, I'm partial to the anchovy. What I won't cop is bloody barbecue sauce. That's bullshit.
The chicken, it's a must. Anyway, let's bring up Cuz. What do you think, Cuz?
Mate, I don't mind pineapple. You can have your anchovies. They are terrible. Absolutely terrible. Jody and Jack love the anchovies because they love the salt. Very big salt people.
I'd be salty too if I had to live with you.
Yeah, I'd be very salty, mate. A little bit of housekeeping. I just had a quick check. The reason that Sean Burgoyne were the 67, in 1967, the referendum was passed on the 27th of May for the Aboriginals to get included in the census for the first time.
Yeah. I wasn't too far off. And sadly, I should know because it's on my birth date.
Yes.
So, anyway, I'll never forget it now after that. So
there
thanks
you go,
for
mate.
Thanks for your little on-the-fly research there, cuz.
Pleasure, mate. Pleasure.
You've impressed me, cuz. I'm surprised. It's good.
I know you're easily surprised. Now,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what gets put on the pizza a fair bit in recent times in your modern pizza or your fancy pizza, your potato on your pizza.
Nah, that's bullshit too. Can't cop
I don't
that.
think that's not a go. Not at all. Potato, pumpkin, not
Can't
your
cop
big
that.
veggies. You want your sliced stuff.
You what?
Yep.
Sliced.
Yeah.
Well, pretty sure potatoes are sliced, mate.
Yeah, but they tend to put it on chunky, which no good. No good.
Well, it depends on where you go, but they just shouldn't go on full stop, right?
All right, let's finish off the pizza discussion with your favourite pizza, Lovey. What's your go-to?
Just chuck everything on it except pineapple. Bring it on.
Righto, discount for no pineapple.
Yeah.
Cuz?
Oh, mate, we'll never get a pizza together. Mine's a wine.
Good.
Yeah. There'll be plenty left over then.
Hawaiian. Honestly, Hawaiian. How many Hawaiians were over in Italy when they first brought out the pizza back in those
Shut up, you
hundreds
bull
of years
bastard.
ago?
Yeah.
Just
before you change topic, Cuz.
When are we going down the caravan, boys, for a weekend away, by the way?
Right,
we're live on air, mate.
I'm going with the Capricciosa, classic Capricciosa.
Capricciosa.
And isn't it incredible? Kids are drawn to the margarita of all pizzas.
Oh. Was that made by someone who's just brain dead?
I just ran out of ingredients.
My boys love a margarita. Love it.
And Berkey comes up with got to be spaghetti. I'm not sure if that's spaghetti pizza, whether he wants it on or he wants it off, or it's his go-to. But I think he was referring back to you not cooking spaghetti, maybe, Lovey. So maybe Cuz can do that as the next podcast.
Yeah,
Can
right.
you give us a bigger screen, Lovey? I want to see you going there, mate. How your chickens going?
No, the chicken's waiting because chicken has to wait because I've only just put the spuds in. And the spuds are going to take about 30 minutes.
Have you scalloped the potatoes, mate, or what have you done?
Hey?
Oh, nice.
The onions and mushies are in there at the moment.
Beautiful.
So I'll wait for the chicken for another 10 minutes, and then I'll chuck the chook on, and then that'll be it. That'll be food. Dinner done for the night.
Beautiful.
Quality. By the size of that, there might be lunch.
Hey?
By the size of that, there might be lunch there as well, mate.
No, it's all going tonight. Trust me. It's very much a lazy bachelor's meal. It's great.
It's a hungry night. Righto, boys. Yeah. Tell me about footy training. What's the deal? You back?
A little bit. Nowhere near as full on. No. Nowhere near as full on as what we were last year. I'll be the assistant coach to our new coach this year. Good fella, good man, knows his stuff. He's been at the Rangers. He's coached South Croydon in Premier Division in the Eastern League out here as well. So I think it'll be just a bit of fun, to be honest. I think there'll be. I don't think there's not a lot of pressure on us myself anyway as a senior assistant. I think Cuz is still working through how he's going to fit in with the club and Macca, but I think it's always been a bit of an itch footy, so I've got to keep on scratching it, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's great. I think that's a really important thing that for this year, people get back and just enjoy footy again for what it is.
Absolutely.
As raw as the game is. So, And speaking of enjoying footy, I do need to touch on this topic. Simon Goodwin.
Oh, what is going on there?
Talk about the biggest overreaction of all time and dragging up old mud to start the season. If a beer with the boys, obviously there's a little bit more than that, but beer with the boys, if that's an issue, I dare say, and to win a premiership, I dare say there's another 17 coaches out on the beers pretty quickly with the boys to try and get that bonding. What's your thoughts as a senior or assistant coach, Lovey?
Well, it just proves that maybe the coach doesn't have as much input on results as what it pans out to be because now obviously Simon Goodwin had really good relationships with his players, most of them. You know what? He's human. Probably made a couple of errors off the field on the way. I mean, who hasn't? not dismissing anyone that might have been hurt on the way through. They deal with that. They dealt with it. It's your typical smear campaign, because if it was serious enough, they should have dealt with it back then. The AFL knew about it. Shock horror, they did nothing. They covered it up. Now they want to pretend they're going to do something about it. Gill should be sacked before anyone, if that's, by the way. It just shows his incompetence in the position he's in. And then you look at the other spectrum. I know we'll talk about this probably later on, but the Justin Langer scenario, for completely different reasons. But again, he's got his different coaching methods. They worked. They're successful. I just don't understand why. And I defend coaches a lot, and maybe that's a bit of a biased viewpoint, but I just don't understand why all the heat comes onto a coach at any point in time the way it has, particularly for those two. All of a sudden, I just find it insane. I can understand why they probably need to seek whether their own form of mental help or whatever the case may be. It's anyone, and they need mentors when they're in the role. For me, I just, when all this blew up for Goodwin, I thought, who the hell is Tom Brown bored? Is there another club that wants to try and just start smearing Melbourne for the sake of it and trying to get an edge? I got no idea. And as for those that have probably leaked some sensitive information on the way through, I genuinely hope they understand the ramifications of what they've done, not to Goodwin. I think Goody's probably going to come out of this okay. But if there are other people impacted and all of a sudden that comes out because they've leaked it, that should fall on them 100%.
Yeah. Just on that, I think it was great that the club came out straight away and defended that. And if there was any issues, they dealt with it internally, which wasn't obviously an internal review, that they were sensitive regarding what was going on. And they made tracks to, look after Goody, I guess, or watch him, I suppose somewhat mentor him, I guess, try and change his ways a little bit. And I think he's come out on top and 100% support behind them. And Max Gawn, obviously the captain, coming out saying, I won't stop having a beer with the coach. So that was a great sign.
I find it intriguing on how you can actually criticise a club that's been successful in its last 24 months or last 12 months in particular. I kind of find that staggering. I think, again, it's just people reaching for things for the sake of clickbait, whatever. Don't know.
Yeah.
But
classic
character assassinations are shit ass.
Yeah, classic tall poppy syndrome, mate. Trying to whack him down or whack them down to try and maybe knock a little bit of the gloss off, maybe what's to come and what has become before us. So, Kaz, have we become a little bit too sensitive in the locker room, in the change room now? Like, let's talk about the cricket scenario for a second.
As Lovey said, he and I have both coached. The biggest thing you learn when you become a coach is, and it's similar in ways to parents, and we're all parents as well, is that you can't be their mate all the time. So a good coach will pick the moments when he's going to hit them between the eyes to the facts and say, mate, you're not doing what you're meant to be doing. Now, Justin Langer, what else has he got to prove as a coach?
Sure.
Now,
he couldn't do much more, could he? World Cup and the Ashes.
I'm starting to think everyone says what a great bloke he is, but I reckon Pat Cummings has come across as gutless the way he's now come out. Like, he didn't want to speak before it, but as soon as the call's been made, he's gone, oh, yeah, that's a good decision. Mate, that makes you look pretty ordinary, to be honest.
And I think the pressure was on him, and then he obviously came out and spoke today, and it was nothing more than sounding like he's protecting his players and thinking, I've got a good group of players in the change room and all this. I just think we've got way too sensitive. If someone can't cop a little bit of a clip now and then, and I heard the things of him saying that, or someone saying that, the batters are thinking about what Langer's been saying in their head and not being able to go out relaxed and concentrate on their game. Like, give me a spell. Like, we're losing this. We're losing the game, aren't we?
But as Lovely would attest to, like, and us being involved as senior coaches over the last couple of years at football clubs, like at senior level, how, and obviously we haven't played for a while, but how we speak to our players now as coaches, you are so conscious of that, aren't you, Lovey? Like that, would you agree with that? How you speak to people, like the days of the bake. As much as at times you've got to give a bake, it's almost like you've got to find a way not to give a bake, or give a bake in a sort of way where you're empowering them as opposed to putting them down, so to speak.
But here's the thing, mate. We're not privy to the conversations JL's had with all of his players. As much as we're not privy to what happened between Goody and the footy club and everyone else. Sorry about the doily curtain in the foreground.
I love it. I love a bit of that.
Nice. It's a nice touch, mate. Nice.
The old doily curtain. Yeah, it's the feminine side of me coming out. I just think that, people just need to take a chill pill. Whatever happens behind closed doors in the sporting club, business, whatever the case may be, unless there's something that's incriminating or someone's been offended against in such a way that legally they should challenge it, then we should all just shut up and just get on with our own lives. I mean, this is wasting everyone's time. The fact we're talking about it now is pretty ironic, but my only concern would be making sure that Justin Langer and Simon Goodwin are in a good headspace right now. That'd be my biggest concern out of this whole lot. And I'm not convinced that was Patrick Cummins talking today either, boys. I'm not convinced.
Yeah, true. I do agree with that.
I think that
being coached a bit, you think, mate?
100%. Cricket Australia's become such a corporatised piece of shit that everything that comes out of that's like a factory mouth. It just literally, it's trained. It's word for word. And you listen to the way he was speaking today, and his body language. I get the feeling it wasn't him. And the other key issue that you've now got, who are you going to attract? Well, that Trevor Bayliss will probably get the gig because he's a New South Wales coach. That's how it works in Cricket Australia. It has for a long time. Mm-hmm. But how are you going to attract other coaches now when you've got such a cutthroat type of environment that, if you can't blend with the players, all of a sudden you're out. Which is confused in itself because your players chop and change all the time. You haven't got the same set players for 2 years, 3 years. So how do you make those judgment calls moving forward? I just think, and I agree with you 100%, Aaron, that we've just gotten too serious with ourselves. Way too serious.
Yep. I think, in cricket, obviously, the couple of 3 different brands of cricket and styles of cricket to play, I think that's a real challenge in the modern day cricketer to try and pull that off and have one coach to do that. So, I don't know. Who knows? That maybe we see that change a little bit over time, that they only coach a certain section of their cricket, whether it be Test, one-dayers and T20s. Who knows? Who knows how it's going to work? But, all right, let's move on to... I
was just going to say, the only other thing you do then is you actually work out... you never used to have coaches before Bobby Simpson. Is it now redundant? That's the only other way I can think of it.
Yeah. Yeah, possibly. Absolutely. Just a selection committee and captains after that. So,
Ken and Coke here, boys. Do you reckon we can get a sponsor? Do you reckon they could potentially sponsor us here, Aaron?
Who knows? I reckon Under Armour doing a pretty good job there for you too, mate.
Especially with the big
what about the great man Gaz, mate? Get a couple of pizzas delivered.
Yeah, that's you're in sponsorship department, cuz. So,
do something, mate.
Righto. So let's move to another absolute sporting superstar, the great Kelly Slater.
Yes.
If this wasn't one of the greats and great moments in sport, he just does it again, doesn't he? Sadly, we're probably not going to see him on Australian shores in the not too distant future. So that's a real shame. But what an absolute superstar, top of his game still.
Because first of all, I've loved watching this bloke since I was a kid. He loved him even more when he got on with Pammy on Baywatch. But I've followed surfing a little bit, but I've never been into it greatly because I live in Ringwood. We've got no beaches. But what a sporting legend. He's got to be up there with the best sportsman of all time, doesn't he?
Oh, mate, that's an amazing achievement.
Yep.
Like it's up there with all-time great sort of stuff doing that at his age.
Brady, he's in the same conversation. He has to be in the same conversation as Brady, Jordan, Phelps, Bolt, all those sort of individual superstars we've always loved over the years. He has to be up there. I mean, for 30 years, he's been winning world titles, basically.
Yeah, You're right, yeah.
And isn't Isn't it? Doesn't it show where we're at as Australia at the moment that we're not going to be able to see him because of some stupid fucking rules?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Sorry.
I mean,
Sorry, but
absolutely. No, that's very true.
that's
Speaking of the rules, I mean, there's concerts getting cancelled, there's sporting things being changed. We either open or we're not. That was the point of the show's title today. One step forward, two steps back. It just seems to be like that everywhere at the moment. I don't know. We're either open or we're not, and that they got to decide that pretty quickly because it's you can't plan anything at the moment. It's really tough.
Is that a Paula Abdul songline, by the way?
It is opposite tracked. Absolutely, mate.
Track, mate.
I was going to play that, but I didn't want to have any issues too early in the show. So, Cuz, just making sure you're pushing your leg back on, are you? Just making sure you're all right there.
No, I'm bleeding a bit stiff, mate. I apologise. Sorry.
He's got an old person's cramp just by sitting on his ass.
I have. Don't laugh. Yeah, it's his ability to stand the test of time. Calisada's amazing, and still in the best nick as well too.
Yeah.
He sure is.
Yeah.
Absolute legend. And how good, like you said, how good does he look? Like if he doesn't look like he can do it for another 5 years, I'll go.
Yeah, exactly right.
The water's a special place, mate. There was one thing I wish I had really taken up when I was younger is surfing, and I absolutely love it and love watching it. And an unbelievable wave that he took to get that last win. Yeah. So. Yeah. All right, let's move to Valentine's Day, mate. Here it is. It's Super Bowl day for us. How good is this? And for once in a long time or a while, we're not going to see the great Tom Brady out there. So the LA Rams and the Cincinnati Bengals. This will be close. It'll be very close. And I think
who wins?
Defense is really good with Cincinnati, but I reckon the Rams might just get it done at home. You don't very often, I wouldn't imagine, get to play at home in the Super Bowl. So it's a pretty special gig. So we might have a look at
last year, didn't they?
Yeah, we might have a look at a couple of Super Bowl ads as they come up. They're always probably some of the best ads in the world put up. But here's an interesting quote from one of the Joe Burrow's actually from the Cincinnati Bengals that came up this week. Work in silence. Don't show anyone what you're doing. Let your performance on Friday nights and Saturday nights and Sunday nights show all the hard work you put in. Don't worry about all that social media stuff. It's pretty true, isn't it? We can get so swept up in social media, and there's kids that get drafted and then or may not get drafted because of some of the content they might have on their own social media. It's an interesting comment. The more you could stay away from it, I guess, even though, ironically, we're using it as a platform to do what we're doing now. But I've definitely limited my social media access in the last 6 months. And a lot of that has been news-driven, to be honest. Limited the news, and I think it's been a great result. So, Cuz, I know you're on all the social media platforms.
Oh, yeah. I'm all over them, mate.
You are, I know. What about the great game? The great game of the world game. I just want to touch on, and this is one of the tournaments that I like to watch every year, and it's the African Nations Cup. Where some of the absolute best talent from all around the world go back and play for their home country, and to see Senegal win this was just amazing. I've been to Senegal, got a lot of Senegalese friends, and they would have gone absolutely crazy watching that win. So brilliant, absolutely brilliant to see.
I'll tell you what, they wouldn't be out of place in the last 8 to 16 in the Euros. Both Senegal, Egypt, Cameroon, Nigeria, those 4 teams in particular would easily hold themselves very, very much in good esteem in the Euros, certainly.
Yeah.
Some absolute mega talent. You see it in the English Premier League. Not so much on the continent. A few of them go to Spain. But Spain and France are probably the other 2 countries. But yeah, just how quick are they? Like they play it,
incredible.
they play the game at a much quicker speed. Like it's all attack.
Yeah, they sure do. And speaking of global and going global, what about this during the week? The Bombers.
Hey,
You'll love the Bombers. I'm not sure who hooked up this deal, but it's great. Get them on the world stage. Fantastic.
Who cares? Get their membership money. That's all I care about.
Exactly.
Don't just hold their jumper, buy a membership.
Loose change for Shaq to buy the Bombers at the moment.
He'd have our membership money in his sock.
I'll tell you, they wouldn't mind flying him down to this function too, which is coming up. I saw 150th anniversary of the Bombers. I reckon that'd be a good function, no matter who's there, just to be able to celebrate.
We should go. We should all go to that.
We should go to that.
Why not? I'll come and support you. No problem.
Cool. So, Cuz, organise the tickets, mate. Thanks.
All right, mate.
You might need a loan there, Cuz.
I'm too busy cooking.
$50. $50
you found your new calling, mate.
Yes.
We'll turn this into a cooking show.
There we go, mate. Give us an update.
Yeah. So I've browned off the mushies and the onions. All right. Now I've cut up the chicken. I cut a piece of my thumb off, but that's all right.
In with the food, mate.
There's the chook. So
Beautiful.
I nearly put it in the bin. So now that goes in. Now, trivia question. Do you put the gas on high to sear the chicken first, and then turn it down low to cook it through, or do you just start on low gas?
Start on low, mate.
Cuz? Aaron?
Start on low.
Oh, I just go wok style, mate. Straight hot from the start. And
correct.
But I cooked the chicken.
It's healthier to sear it to start with. So go on high for 1 minute all the way around it, and then you slow cook it.
Yeah. But be sure not to boil it. There's the secret. So just little bits of chicken at a time.
I'm just going to have oil spatting on my ass while I talk to you. That's all right.
There you go. Here's an interesting, and we were all for a bit of interesting history and trivia coming into the AFL season. But here's another one for you. Premiership wins in Winter Olympic years.
Oh, yeah.
Melbourne's up there. West Coast is up there. Bombers trailing a little bit behind with 2. But interestingly enough, look at the ones that haven't won one. I think that's pretty interesting. Gold Coast, GWS, North Melbourne, Port St Kilda, Swans, and the Bulldogs. Who knows? Who knows what will happen? But that means the Demons this year.
St Kilda might almost be on all sorts of different lists. That's an interesting trivia. That's trivia, mate. Can you go back as far as how far back can you go? Oh, well, now you've shown. Oh, no.
I'm not sure how far back it goes, but I dare say there's a few there.
So 2018, West Coast. 2014, Hawthorn. 2010 was Collingwood. 2006 was West Coast. 2002 was Brisbane. 98 was Adelaide. Yep. 94 West Coast. Yeah, you can see why West Coast are right up there now. 1990 was the shittest year of my life. 86 was Hawthorn. 82 was Carlton. 78 was Hawthorn. No.
Yeah.
Hawthorn.
Yep.
74.
Richmond.
Richmond. That was the back-to-back, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Shit, that's gone real hot. 1970 was Carlton. 66. No.
66.
When did that change? It was 92. Oh, I've really stuffed this up. Because 94 was West Coast. And they used to be in the same year as the Summer Olympics. So West Coast 92, 1988 was Hawthorn. Oh, we get the drift. Essendon got one in 84. Yeah, shit, we're done.
Well done. There was 5 there or 4 there for Melbourne. You haven't called one of them yet. So,
yeah, but before you won this one, mate, it took you 50-something years to win another bloody premiership.
No, as I've said to you not long ago.
Aristotle was still holding the history, writing the history books. The ink was still wet from Aristotle.
That's right. How many days? How many days since the last Bomber one?
Don't care. 16, pal.
How many you won, mate?
4.
How many you won?
We're catching you, mate. We're catching you. All right, let's move on. Let's move on.
That wasn't the question
NRL.
we asked you, mate.
I didn't hear you. Anyway, let's moving on into NRL and a game that I love during their kind of preseason comes up, and it's the NRL Indigenous team
Yep.
select versus the NRL Maori All Stars. And it's an absolute ripper. It's an absolute ripper.
This game.
I love it. And fantastic that Josh Addo-Carr's been named as captain too.
Yeah.
I reckon that's absolutely fantastic.
Foxy.
That's right. And I don't think the Maori team have put their captain in yet, but I reckon there's a fair chance Kenny Bromwich might get it. Who knows? Who knows? Anyway.
Keep that up for a sec. Oh, keep that list back up for a sec, mate. Can you?
Yep.
You reckon Bromwich?
Yep, I reckon Kenny. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Going for
Probably
one out of the box.
Yeah, you're probably
I guess
right.
with a soft spot of being a Storm boy that's off to the Dolphins.
Proctor.
Yep, another ex-Storm boy. So who knows? Who knows what will happen there? But an interesting quote that came out of this as well, an ex-Storm boy, Brinko Lee, who's now at Manly. No team should say they're rebuilding. You're here to win a premiership whenever you play. Last year is last year. And that's a great point, I reckon, because do you think it's a bit – it's obviously the easy way out to discuss rebuilds. Melbourne's been on 20 rebuilds since I've been alive. So to see one come to fruition on the last, I'm not sure if it was a 3-year or 5-year plan, this last one, I'm pretty sure it was 5. 5 by 5, I think it was. It's a great thing. But when you talk rebuilds, no one wants to know about a rebuild. Doesn't sell memberships, does it?
No, I don't think so. You're selling the future, right? So that's how you meant to say it. Instead of saying, oh, you're rebuilding, just saying, well, we've got future players coming through. Look out in 2 or 3 years' time. But give us a chance this year, and I reckon we're half a show of winning our games anyway. I think rebuild's just a really bad label. I don't think you've got a choice in our codes to, because of the system and the way it works and the evenness and the draft and all the rest of it, that eventually you do come down. You do come down from the top. You have to. But it shouldn't be used as an excuse to wallow and have some self-pity run through your club either. And I think there's quite a few, both NRL and AFL clubs, I feel, that have used it as a bit of a pity us mechanism for a number of years and an excuse not to try and get better regardless of who's on their list. That gets back to what your coaching's like, what your board's like, and what your club management's like off field. If it's only mediocre, then you're going to continue to be building and building and building. Look at Carlton. Carlton are the perfect example of just excuse-laden, excuse-riddled. They've made error after error in their drafting and trading anyway.
Yep.
I just don't understand. I agree with that comment 110%. Stop using it as an excuse. If you're not good enough, you're not good enough. So just get better.
Yeah. And look what can happen. I mean, Bombers haven't really spoken of a rebuild as such in my, their messaging along the way. But look how quickly you can really turn it around and become very close to being able to play a final.
But isn't what that quote's about, though? That quote was saying, stop coming out and saying you're on a rebuild. Like, we never did.
Yeah. Yep.
We never did. I mean, external expectations from last year, we should finish bottom 2 to 4.
Yep.
Well, get stuffed. I mean, obviously, internally, the boys thought they could do some good things last year, and look what happened. Positive thinking gets positive results.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not even a term I'd like to see used, rebuild. Kaz, thoughts?
Yeah, look, I'm with Lovey. It's just a cop-out word in a way. It's take ownership for what you've done and take ownership for what you're going to do going forward. So, yes, there'll be a time, as Lovey said, with the way the draft works, that you will have a fall or drop away per se, but just own it, deal with it, and just move on. Yep. And as we know as parents, as our parents said to us, actions speak far louder than words. So you can get up and talk about doing a rebuild. Just go out and do it. Coach your players how to do things. Take ownership for the mistakes they make. Learn from the mistakes you make, and then just go forward.
Yep, definitely. All right, let's touch on a couple of gigs and stuff from a music point of view that are coming up. So some of these artists have been on our show, which is fantastic. And this weekend at the Brunswick Ballroom, headed headlined by Luke Sinclair set. Ben Mastwick, who was another one that was been on our show. He'll be fantastic with his band, including Dan Brody. Dan Brody will also got a set as well. Kat Canteri, Katie Bates, Foggy Nation, The Cartwheels, great name for a band, and Josephine Laver. So that'll be great. Be a great whole day almost. You're right there, Lovey. You didn't burn yourself.
Yeah, there, mate.
Yeah, I'm all right. Go on, keep going.
And then we move through to Friday, the 18th of February. And
I'm looking forward to this.
We've listed this down on one of our best. And last time we saw this band was at the Cherry Bar. And got to see a very good friend of mine, Laura Davidson, and another great mate accompanied on rhythm guitar, AK. Fantastic. Can't wait to see these guys, ACDC, live at Mimo in St Kilda on the Friday the 18th. Laura, can't wait to do this. This must be a great feeling up on stage like that. Crowd right behind you, female lead singer on the most iconic Aussie band, or guy band anyway. It must be huge. Can't wait to talk to Laura in a week or so. Hopefully we can get her and maybe AK on, just have a quick chat about ACDC, given that it's a anniversary show of 42nd anniversary of Bon Scott. So times are ticking. And their band was really built around the Bon Scott era for AC/DC as well. So they do that. And then not long after that, Laura's playing a Carpenters gig with Brett Wolfenden on drums. So very diverse, Laura, as we know. So can't wait to see that. Now, one that I did know that's been rescheduled is a band that I absolutely love, a new band that's been out for a little while, a couple of years now, called Gold Mines. And they are playing on the same night, George Lane, which is almost around the corner, Friday the 18th of Feb. So we're going to have to find another gig to go for them. Because Cherry Bar has been rescheduled as well. So it's a year of reschedules, like we talked about. 1 step forward, 2 step backs, impossible to plan. But one thing we do know is that's happening shortly is March the 5th in the lead up to Under the Southern Stars with Rusty from Electric Mary. We're planning to do an Electric Mary chat and show in the next week or so, March 5th at Musicland, as a little tune-up to finally Under the Southern Stars, which is actually finally going to happen with Cheap Trick, Bush, Stone Temple Pilots, Motorcycle Club, Rose Tattoo, and Electric Mary. That'll be fantastic. So Mornington Peninsula is the one I'm hitting. It's Saturday, early March there, mid-March, I think it is.
There's still tickets for that, mate?
Yeah, there's plenty of tickets. It's been a whole reschedule. Sadly, Electric Mary aren't going to be playing at the Margaret Court Arena one in Melbourne. So just due to timing, it's a much shorter show. It's not a big festival, so a few bands have had to get the bullet. And there's one that's going to be delayed, and this is a bit of a sad, which was supposed to be almost in a month or so now, and it's actually rescheduled now to August, September. Kiss, the end of the road. Is it really the end of the road? That's the question. Is there another comeback in Kiss? I think this is it. COVID almost told them that's it, but they're determined to get it done, and they're determined to get to WA. So that's
I'll be honest, mate. In particular, and I didn't think I'd say this about him, but Paul Stanley in particular, I think it looks like it should be.
Yeah, the days are done. They're better off just playing, putting up it's kind of like an Elvis tribute now, mate. You just put up the cinema screen, let's play the band. And
when you go to the Palms at Crown Casino, maybe that's the one that could go to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of another couple of gigs before we finish up, good friends of ours, Ash Naylor, in a band called Even. It's the 40th anniversary of the Tote in Collingwood, and they're going to play on the 20th of March. This will be an absolute cracker with a band that's reforming after many years, the Glory Box. Great name too. And the Swarm. The Swarm with a name you might know out front. This is another band Ash played in, but a guy out front that you might know, who's a singer, Francis Leach, from SEN and ABC fame. So Leachy is the lead singer, mate. That will be a cracker. So put that one in the diary too. There's plenty of gigs around, that's for sure. And just a good mate of mine, Jace, has just put up a comment of a friend of his has got a new single out, Jade Empress. She has a new single out. So we're going to put that in the comments down below. It's a big comment there. So we'll find a little shortened link to get her. Obviously, she's on Spotify, unlike Neil Young trying to get off Spotify. So what a disaster all that is.
What are we thinking about all that? Like, honestly.
Yeah, in relation to censorship and everything else, I think there's a bit of power in music, isn't there, as far as who speaks up and does what. Sadly, that power in music didn't really work for Peter Garrett in politics. So I would say a few more musicians should become politicians, man, because they've got a fair movement. So that's a whole nother debate and topic for another day. But
Does
just
Neil
one thing.
Does Neil Young have to be careful though about don't bite the hand that feeds you though?
I think Neil Young at his age is probably not too worried about further income through Spotify or one of those. But it's interesting enough, some younger artists have come on to support Neil Young, and it's become a bit of a circus, to be perfectly honest. But
I mean, the example you set's the example that people will follow, right? So it's interesting to see how many, like you say, the younger generation of musicians, do they follow the way that Neil Young's gone? And if so, make sure you're prepared, make sure you're ready, because it could snap at you back the other way. I agree with Cuz on that one, 100%. Got to be very careful of that stuff.
Yep, absolutely. And I want to just draw attention to a guy I work with who's an incredibly talented artist. He's got his first solo exhibition and kicks off tomorrow night. Free beers are on offer in Brunswick, a art exhibition called Detective Morgue. And it's a little called Classified, and it's a little history of kind of Melbourne and a bit of an underground theme of what he thinks really went on, and he's put in an insane amount of work. This is kind of the stuff he's done, an artist's kind of impression of the Yarra and things like that, and Detective Morgue, meaning a guy that's come to solve these old cases. He's just a good thinker, forward thinker, and he's had an absolute blast doing it. So sponsored by Atomic, Fireball, Heaps Normal, and the City of Yarra, at a new gallery called Honey Bones, which moved from Collingwood out to Brunswick. I've been there before for a show. It's fantastic. 10th to the 16th, opening nights tomorrow. If you can get out there, there's free beers on offer.
So quick question. As a current house hunter, how many pieces has he got on display, and are they for sale?
They're absolutely all for sale, including a piece similar to this. There's also prints, prints as well as a couple of paintings and sculptures. So, mate, the kid's a real talent. I'll give him that. And it's been moved once because of COVID. It was going to happen in early December. And it's just fantastic that he's finally got it up and going. And we all know that from little things, big things grow. And you never know, Bass. Mate, I'm right behind you. Cuz knows you personally, and he's a great kid. And we wish you luck with that exhibition.
Well, keep me informed. I can't get there tomorrow night, but keep me posted on all that stuff, because I'm not exactly going to live in I'm not going to live in a house that's dull. That's for sure.
Beautiful. You'll be there for sure. And speaking of, we're going to get Eddie Zammit, another good mate of the show, on to talk Masters of the Universe. What's your memories of Masters of the Universe? Eddie's behind a great exhibition that he's put together in the city, which is absolutely epic, and it's just had an extension, which is great, called Remastered, and it's an exhibition and he's got artists put together all sorts of murals, T-shirts, and there's a whole stack of memorabilia and iconic pieces from Masters of the Universe and collectors. But your favourite Masters of the Universe character, Kaz, do you remember that? Or were you out? You were out kicking the footy by that stage.
I remember.
Kaz was 30 by then.
Shut up, love you moron. I can't remember their names. I got to.
Well,
doing a bit of quick research. No, just bear with me.
Righto, lovey.
Yeah.
Come back to Cuz.
Because I related most to He-Man, because he and I are kind of alike. But my absolute favourite, he doesn't get a lot of kudos, was remember the Birdman, Stratos?
Yeah,
he was a pretty cool looking dude, actually. So Stratos for me was my favourite character. So if Eddie's designing T-shirts off the back of all this, if you can find Stratos, I'll buy one off him.
Righto, look out. there's a challenge, Ed. We might have to get along the boys and go and have a look at this called Remastered.
Yep.
Incredible fit out. And there's obviously a big picture of He-Man on the front. And the favourite character for me was the Dark Side, Skeletor.
You did like him, didn't you? I thought you'd like him.
Absolutely. He-Man was a bit too clean for me, mate. But Cuz would have strived to be He-Man, that's for sure.
Didn't have to strive, mate.
So who'd you like, mate?
I like Skeletor too. Skeletor was okay.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
Give us a cooking update there. You must be nearly ready to
What
eat,
you got,
mate.
mate? You must be done now.
It's done. So, hang on, I'll just plate up. If I don't put it all over the fucking bench. Yeah, just something really basic, boys. Bit of so some chips, rosemary chips, and bit of chicken, mushroom, and onion with some salsa through it, and a bit of Moroccan spice. That's it. We're done.
Just quietly, Lovey. That's a pretty special gig there. It's might take a few cokes to wash that down, mate. But
He's going back for the Coke.
I've still got a bottle.
Sure, he's going back for the Coke.
Still got a bottle of red tucked away in the pantry, so that's all right, mate. Happy days. I might even put a bit of I might put some Glenfiddich in after I finish.
Definitely
Polish it off.
We're going to get the great Dave Cosma back on in the next few weeks to have a chat to us, tell us about what he's got going up. Yep. But I can't finish the show without one of the classic Daves.
So, just before we go, I did feel a bit offended just before you didn't wait for my NFL prediction.
Yes. Okay. Let's flick back to that.
So it is the LA Rams for me as well. I actually think Odell Beckham Jr. gets MVP. Yep. I think he'll go for 100 plus. And I think Joe Burrow's, he's talk all about the social media and all the rest of it. You can't get a cigar out of his mouth the last 2 weeks. So for me, hit the young fella down a bit. A little bit smug for mine. So I think Stafford would deserve to have a Super Bowl and Odell. So Rams for me, mate. 32-10.
32-10. Righto.
Convincing.
Absolutely. Righto, Cuz. Give us yours.
I go Rams 24-12.
Righto. No problem. I think the Rams are going to get it done too in a close one.
32-10 is pretty close.
Yeah, well, it is, but I think it's going to be 24-20. There you go. It's going to be a close one, decided right at the end. Hopefully that's a good Super Bowl. So let's finish off with a quick one from Dave, and then we'll catch up next week, boys. Great to see you.
You too, boys. Thank you.
Welcome back.
Cheers.
Yes.
This is how you make porridge.
That's not how you make porridge.
This is how you make porridge.
That's not how you make porridge.
And this is what makes hot, nourishing porridge instantly, with nothing added except convenience.
Aye, it's delicious, but that's not how you make porridge.